Hi there, my name is Vuvu. Welcome to my channel. If you are new on here, please consider pressing that red subscribe button down below and joining the family. If you're an oldie, a member of the fam bam, welcome back fam, and thank you for joining me once again. So today I am bringing you my December wrap up. If you saw the November wrap up, you'll know exactly why I'm laughing. If you are interested in that, please do stay tuned.
So Vena _reads is an amazing book reviewer, also YouTuber. She reviews books on YouTube, and if I'm not mistaken, she also has a blog as well. So please, if for your connection with literature, get in touch with or follow at VUVUVENA_reads. She is based in South Africa, and I think it is also extremely important to follow literary content creators who are based outside of the West and in continental Africa, because they do a really good job of bridging the gap.
We appreciate you, Vuvu, for bringing us Turning Pages and for bringing us your BookTube channel.
You know, this is a chance for people to actually see some people that I really enjoy.
Please consider pressing the red subscribe button down below, and if you are returning, welcome back fam.
Vuvu, you're amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Okay, as usual, I'm gonna have to open my story graph, guys. This is just how this is going to go. I read 6 books in the month of December, and 1 book was a book that I read with my kids in the last weeks of the year, in terms of our, so I don't know what's going on, in terms of our commute to and from school. So that one I will not include. The rest were books that I read from my library. So library as in this here bad boy. So in no particular order, let's start with this one. So I picked up Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I know that this one needs no introduction. This was something that was spoken a lot about when I first joined BookTube, and people absolutely loved this book. I'm trying to position myself. People absolutely loved this book. In here we follow Naomi, whose cousin seems to have been, I almost want to say possessed, but is going through a hard time. She's recently married and is living in some Gothic house in Mexico, and Naomi's father is very concerned about the cousin. I'm trying to see if the cousin's name is mentioned here, but anyway, she's married to someone whose surname is Doyle, so they don't mention her name anyway, and they live in this place called High Place. High Place is really a very rundown structure that does speak of its former glory, but for some reason over the years things aren't as they seem. It's very dark, it's very dingy, it does give you a very airy feeling, and immediately when Naomi reaches there, she can tell that something is off. Her cousin seems fine some days she doesn't, but she is really a very hollow version of who Naomi knew her to be when they were growing up, and she has been tasked by her father to go there and look at the situation and ascertain exactly what it is that is going on with the cousin and how they can remedy the situation. During her first day there, she visits the local town. So High Place is actually high up a mountain, so it's very far from the actual community of that specific Mexican town. She goes there, and her cousin sends her to a, what do you call them, medicine woman, let me call her that, who gave her something to help with certain things that she feels like she's going through. At this point we can tell that it seems like she's going through some form of hallucination. Anyway, to just wrap it all up, Naomi spends some time there, gets to know the main lady who helps around in the house, the father to the husband, the husband's cousin. No, the lady's, so the husband's cousin, I think. Anyway, it's a very messed up family, and they have, I don't even want to call them skeletons. If they're not skeletons, I don't know what they have in the grave. Okay, they've got some very deep family secrets, very disgusting family traditions that they were trying to rope Naomi into, and it seems at this point towards the end of the book they want to, try to rope Naomi's cousin into, but it seems like they want to pull Naomi into these schemes as well. So it is an interesting book. It was really not what I had expected. I've read a few Gothic novels before. One of my favorite, and probably the first few that I did read, was Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Absolutely loved that one. This one was not really up to what I expected it to be, but it is really a very interesting read. I ended up giving this one a 3.75 stars. I then reread The Puppy War. And okay, let's talk about The Puppy War. I reread The Puppy War by R.F. Kuang, and I absolutely enjoyed this first book in the series. I don't want to lie to you. Even the first time around, I did enjoy it. I think my stumble the first time that I read it is that to me it felt like two separate books. When they transitioned from the school into actual real life, I felt like one could have been a novella, one could have been a separate book. However, I think perhaps my attention at that time did not really require something of that nature, if you get what I'm trying to say. It didn't gel with the transition, because this time around I got it. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, in this one we follow Rin. Rin is an orphaned child in this Asian society, and she lives in a world where if you are smart enough, you can be selected to attend an elite school, basically all paid for by the government, where you get to be trained to form part of, I'll say, the army. No? And currently she is taking care of her, she's a foster child. She's taking care of her foster family, but when you're a foster child, you're probably just doing the work that they would have to outsource to a helper of sort. So she doesn't want that for her life. At this point they want to marry her off because she's coming of age and is soon gonna be of no use to them, whereas they can rake in a whole lot of money if they marry her off. And it seems like they're trying to list who her potential suitors could be, and she's having none of that. That's never been her dream. That's not what she wants for herself. And then she hears about the keju. The keju is now this test that you have to take in order for you to be able to attend this elite school and be able to progress in life and in the ranks of society. The society is very classist, if I might add, and obviously the lower you are on the food chain, the less privileges you get out of society. And so Rin does this with the assistance of a local that she had trusted before when she was younger, and she happens to be accepted into one of the elite schools. I think there's 3 schools in total that people who qualify from the KEJU can get into, but she gets taken into Senegal, which is the elitist of these schools, and no one really believes it. It causes a whole uproar, but fair is fair, and eventually she goes in. In there, it seems like we have people with different strengths, different, I want to say, magical abilities, and obviously wanting to place themselves in different parts of government when things are needed, or when help is needed in that sense. I feel like I'm gonna review this whole thing, but all in all, it is definitely a story around this country trying to gain back its freedom from, firstly, poppy, which is a drug. So I'm gonna mention this one as well. So the series basically talks about trying to reclaim the country to what it should be, fighting against authority, and restoring. Basically it's about restoration, while also figuring out and finding out who you are in the greater narrative, in terms of your gifts, where your gifts can go, how far they can go, depending on how much you work on yourself. It is a story about loss. It is a story about being undermined or being the underdog in society. It is a story about trickery. It is a story about politics, and it is a story about betrayal, as well as, I suppose, love, but not necessarily just romantic love. It is a very well written series. I'm still to read the third book in the series. I absolutely enjoyed both of these books. Obviously what they will end on a cliffhanger so that you can grab the next one. I enjoyed this one more than this one, and I hear that the third book is really very good. I was hybrid reading these ones, so I'm still waiting for Everend to make the last book available to me, which it hasn't yet. I rated the Poppy War 4.5 stars, and I rated the Dragon Republic 3.5. Yes, 3.5 stars. So those were the next two books that I picked up. And then I picked up The Comrade's Wife by Barbara Boswell. Man, oh man, oh man, did this thing take me on a trip. Let me just have a drink trap, because yeah, ayo, ayo, yo. Dr. Anita. So in this one we follow Dr. Anita, who is a divorcee in her 40s, who is basically just looking for love. She finds love with the wrong man, and this man basically dribbles her to no end up until she figures out who he is, and then has her little bit of revenge. That's the biggest summary that I can give you, and it also obviously explores a lot of themes that I think that in South African society as a young woman are themes that you should be curious about. I absolutely enjoyed this one, and I rated it a 4-star. Then the last book that I picked up in the month of December is The Rain in the Holly Library by K.A. Linda. I absolutely enjoyed this one. Trust me, a lot of it has left my mind. Kersey. I could be saying her name wrong, child. Is the resident thief in this mystical land, and she has been assigned to break into the house of one of the most feared men in that society to steal a certain ring. Okay, so this is where the story starts. That's what she does, and she does not expect to get caught, because I mean, she is the best thief there is, but she does get caught by what's his name, who lives in the house. Graves does catch her and then proposes that for her to get out of the situation, she needs to do a certain job for her. So while she does this job, they figure out that in fact Kersey has a lot of magic within her, and this is something that's foreign to her, but this is something that she discovers the more she hangs around Graves. And Graves' agenda for actually wanting her to do this specific job is slowly revealed to her. But with almost every other chapter, there's a little task that's put in her way, leading her to the main task, and we get to see all the other players in the story, and we get to also understand why Graves becomes so attached too crazy. It is an absolutely beautiful story. I absolutely enjoyed this one, had so much fun with it, and I ended up rating it a 4-star. So that brings me to the end of this this wrap up for the month of December. Now that I'm all caught up, I can't wait to tell you guys what I rate in the month of January. If you have made it this far, please do leave me a pile of books for the library, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose that's yeah. Please leave me a pile of books for the rain in the Holly Library, and maybe some, like, you know, autumn leaves. Like, can you see the detail? So a pile of books with some leaves. And thank you so very much for choosing me once again. I truly do love you guys. Until next time, bye for now.